Tony Frederick, Win FM. Good afternoon, Honourable Prime Minister. Just to follow up just quickly on the information on the SPV, can you identify who the board of directors are? Okay.
I would like the bank to name its own directors.
And the government ones, have they been identified?
No, as I said, we will do that next
week.
And then
will the management team come from among the board, or will separate people be?
Yeah.
All right. So in regards to our national debt as it stands, because I know that it is expected to drop significantly once we actually get land sold. Can you give us an idea where it stands right now compared to GDP and where it will?
The debt is reduced before any land is sold. I keep saying that, but people are not listening. The debt is reduced once the lands which had been invested in the bank are transferred to the private company for it to make use of.
So the debt, it's off the government's books now?
Oh, yes, that's what I'm saying.
So what's the current standing
The first movement, which should be involving a significant amount of more than half of what is owed to the bank by the government, federal government, that would end up at the debt being reduced from about 160% of GDP, which went down to 135 after what I had just described with the bonds and so forth. That will now move significantly below 100%. And that is what our aim is through the SPV.
So at this time, it is accurate to say that it is below 100% of GDP?
No, it is about 135. Once it is given to the SPV, which will take place maybe by the end of this month, for its use, whether sale, whatever, once it's transferred from the bank to that entity, then the debt is reduced. In fact, it's a very, very important question that you're asking because it has legal implications. There was a time when once we had transferred the lands from the government to the bank, then the debt should be reduced. There is still an interpretation that says that, but it has not yet happened. We have passed the legislation. The instruments, the debt instruments, which currently the bank is holding for the government, have been identified. So once now the action takes place where the new directors come on board, that would have completed the transfer, and it has been interpreted that it is at that stage that there is a significant reduction.
That was just a follow-up to the others' questions. A couple of questions from WinFM. The NIA cabinet, I understand that there was to have been this morning a joint meeting of the Nevis Island Administration Cabinet and the Federal Cabinet. I was wondering if you're in a position yet to say what was some of the priority areas that were identified coming out of that meeting today, if that did take place. And my other question is in regards to the motion of no confidence. Your office and your Information Minister, Nigel Cardy, has indicated that this matter is sub judice, and this is why at this point it's not a consideration for tabling. We've had legal luminaries indicate to us that it is not sub judice in that it cannot be prejudiced by the motion being tabled. Can you comment on that? Because we've been made to understand that, in fact, it's not. Because sub judice has the inference that the matter can be prejudiced by any action being taken. But the matter before the court pertains to the claimant saying that their constitutional rights are being violated if the motion not being tabled. Even if the court rules in their favor, the court still can't dictate when the motion is tabled anyway. That's not within the court's purview. So all it can say is, yeah, it is, but They can't. The actual scheduling of the motion is still up to the Speaker. So whatever happens with that case has nothing to do with the actual scheduling of the motion. So can you speak to that?
No, I think we would be very foolish to be advised by your luminaries. Who are your luminaries? Who really are they?
I'll get their permission to indicate that to you, sir.
Next time.
Okay. No. Usually when people speak with us, not usually. When people speak to me off the record, it's off the record.
Right,
but I'll certainly, if I have their permission to, I'll certainly indicate to you, sir.
Right. Okay. But we do not think that a matter has come to the court. The substantive matter before the court is whether or not.
Their constitutional rights and values.
Not just that. Whether or not the parliament can be dictated to by the court to put a matter that is entirely of the parliament onto an order paper.
But that's the respondents. The respondents have no filed.
That is our case.
Right. But I'm saying that the originating motion is that.
Yeah, but that is our case. I speak of our case.
But your case is an application responding to
But that is what I speak
case.
to.
But the originating motion isn't sub judice, though.
I speak of the fact that the government wishes to be advised whether the court has any jurisdiction to dictate to the parliament what to put on the order paper.
I understand that.
And that's what we are waiting on the court to determine.
But what I'm saying is...
So we will not put it on the order paper. I don't believe the Speaker would dare to put the matter on the order paper.
Sub judice.
I am not going to argue about sub judice because I am not a lawyer.
Okay, no, it's just that your office put out a statement today in which it indicated that the delay is caused by the matter being sub judice. So
right.
That was really what I was questioning. But
that's what I said. From our understanding of the situation, we have said to the court, as a result of what has been asked of the court with regard to us and our action, to tell us. And we are saying that, court, you have really no authority here. And so we would want, before we can prepare for this matter, to be in the parliament for the court to rule.
I understand what you're saying. And it could just be me, perhaps. I'm not intelligent enough, but I was asking for an explanation as to how the tabling of the motion would prejudice the outcome of that, but which is what is the inference in a matter being sub judice. But if maybe you need to bring in the lawyer the next time you have a press conference.
No, so, I can handle this one.
All right, go for it. All right.
All right, that's it. Oh, report on the meeting. The joint meeting really was to receive the IMF reporting on its quarterly review. I think it was the 5th and 6th reviews being compressed as to how we're doing. And I can report, according to the IMF words, the leaders' words, the review was very, very successful. The review was successful, and it was a very good report on St. Kitts-Nevis' performance to take back to the IMF board.